What's good, everybody? It's Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. Back at it with another reaction. We got another fantastic hip hop. How Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole just officially ended their beef. OG members, what's good? New people just getting on the channel. What's good with you? If you like the content, go ahead and like, subscribe. Put that notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video. Man, what do y'all got planned for October? A lot of crazy stuff is going on. But uh Kendrick and J. Cole having a beef, I wouldn't even call it that. Like I felt like they were trying to keep it, just verbal back and forths, still sharp and still type of thing. I think the actual beef, that's Kendrick and Drake. I don't think that Kendrick and J. Cole had a beef, but let's see what he considers beef and how it officially ended.
Now, as we are living within such a pivotal time in hip hop right now, as during this current moment more than ever, lines are being drawn in the sand between which rappers and factions of hip hop collectives will be working with and supporting one another following a period where everyone was going at it. And now, most significantly, at the core of all of this are, of course, what was considered the big three of hip hop in Kendrick Lamar, Drake,
The
and J.
big
Cole.
three.
And as we obviously know where Kendrick and Drake stand against each other, there is nothing to discover there at this point, but out of this trio, the one who has been making more and more noise with each one of his recent moves and who has been questioning people to dig for more information and put these complicated pieces together is J. Cole, because as recently, we have seen J. Cole go on a feature run where he has been working alongside rappers and producers who are directly engaged in conflict with Drake, and this is following a time where Drake did indeed talk about Cole very dismissingly on his own diss tracks this year. It's safe to say that at the very least, J. Cole and Drake are no longer on any sort of speaking terms, and despite the run they had together in 2023 and early 2024, Drake will never work with Cole again or respect him in the same way he once did because
Yeah, it's it's crazy. Like the way, and it's crazy that Drake did really just kind of get out of here, knowing. And this is where it's like when it comes to beef or just like disses or different things like that, this is where things are weird because it's just all like Drake, out of all three, Drake is the least lyrical one. Like as far as wordplay, different things like that. And J. Cole straight up manhandled Drake on first person shooter, and just in all of his stuff in general. So skill wise, Drake is not touching J. Cole. The only thing that Drake really had on anybody was just the accolades. And that doesn't necessarily equate from skill level, you know. Just because you put out a bunch of music doesn't mean it's all good. I think I was looking at this thing with DJ Academics, and he was comparing as far as what was considered classic albums with Kendrick and what was considered classic albums with Drake. And he was just calling everything classic with Drake. And then he had the question or put some type of caveats, with Kendrick's. He did mention some of them being classics, but with some of them, he was just all like, well, to commercially or whatever, different things like that, or to the purists, this was a classic. But there was just always something, and it's just all like, look, Drake is a talented artist, uh, but as far as lyrical standards and different things like that, and what he's been putting out recently, it is garbage. And it's been like that for some years, So it's just very weird that Drake did that as far as try to dismiss him and anyone that is pretty much better than him as a rapper. And people love to do that. Well, how many followers do you have? Like that's relevant. Or how many, there's like they put all of this stuff that really has nothing to do with the skill set, especially in a type of situation where the skill set is what the back and forth is, you know?
Because of how he backed out of the beef they were both involved in with Kendrick Lamar. And then, as a result, how this pretty much left Drake alone to fend for himself in a feud that he clearly could not handle. And with Cole, as Drake disrespected his name and his decisions that he made as a man, it's clear that Cole is staying far away from somebody whose energy pretty much projects the exact opposite of everything he stands for. And now,
Right.
with Cole and Drake separated after joining forces, this leaves us with one remaining question about this trio, which is, of course, where does J. Cole stand with Kendrick Lamar? And now, well, just a few months ago, this question would have been impossible to answer, and if anything, it seemed like Kendrick Lamar hated J. Cole for linking up with Drake the way he did, and then for pretty much disrespecting him with first-person shooter. At this point, it seems like this couldn't be further from the truth, because it doesn't just look like their tension has settled down, but it actually seems like they are on pretty good terms, and we may have even just found out that they indeed have a song coming together in the near future. But now, in order to understand this, we need to first look at where Cole and Kendrick left off in the midst of all the musical fireworks that went off this year, because while the narrative between Kendrick and Drake was obviously very clear, with Kendrick and Cole, things have always been...
There was supposed to be this legendary Kendrick and J. Cole album that was supposed to drop. And still, we just have not gotten it. And I'm just all like, oh man, Kendrick on J. Cole production was dope with that high power. And it's just all like, oh, and literally at the time when they were both coming up, I would listen to them pretty much equally. You know, they had pretty much the same vibe. J. Cole was an interesting case because he went to school, like legit, got degrees and everything, but he really decided to push music. And not even that he did it afterwards, like he from a young age was trying to push music, but it's just it was interesting because J. Cole was a interested, like he was an avatar for kind of like my upbringing. It was like it's like I had an upbringing of both Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, and I think that's why I related to them both the same, because I would be in the environment of Kendrick Lamar, you know, but I would have the pursuit and academic kind of pursuit like a J. Cole, except I didn't get any degrees. I got certs, but I definitely like school. You know, so with them possibly having a song coming out together, that is going to be so fire. That is going to be so fire because I'm trying to think what would the subject matter even be about, because they could get on some cool, you know, stuff, but I think it would be kind of a disservice for their respective audience for them not to do something like crazy impactful, not in a corny way, but I feel like that track is going to blow up the freaking internet. It would be crazy if it was a Drake diss. That would be like literally. If you see Kick Ass 2, then you're going to know what it is that I'm talking about. If you haven't, or you haven't read the graphic novel comic, then you're spoiler alert. But them dropping the track together and it being a diss track to Drake would be like on Kick Ass 2 when they were attempting to bury Kick-Ass's father. Like he's in the casket, they're like about to put him in the ground, and his arch nemesis has a bazooka and blows up the casket. Like that's what this would be. That would be overkill. He's already dead. This would be the just, there's nothing left. Yo, that would be
Lot more
insane.
complicated because as Cole was directly dissed on Like That, although he was the secondary target, and then Cole obviously dissed Kendrick back on 7 Minute Drill. They once were fully engaged in a back and forth, but now as of course J. Cole backed out of this feud when he apologized for that track and what he did. He seemingly changed the tides with this move and at least brought his and Kendrick's relationship to a point of peace on his end. And now again, while we don't know the full story behind Cole backing out, and the only thing that's tried to clarify any of what happened is an alleged story that says that Kendrick's fellow TDE member Schoolboy Q, who indeed was at Dreamville Fest, went and told Cole that all of this is so much bigger than just him and rap, and before things went the way we all saw they eventually did, he should exit the beef. Regardless of what was behind this moment, Cole's exit obviously hit the reset button on his and Kendrick's relationship, and eventually, we got further proof that in a lot of ways it did, as when Kendrick Lamar came out and began to unravel his diss tracks on Drake. While Cole was referenced and alluded to a few times to help set the scene of all Kendrick was frustrated about and to explain why he is this angry and determined to take the crown of rap and have nobody ever be able to snatch it back from him, Cole was never actually disrespected by Kendrick lyrically, and when he dropped Not Like Us, he of course said the line, "Did Cole foul? I don't know why you still pretending." And now as when this song dropped, there was just so much that made the entire world go crazy. It seems like we really forgot about this bar and brushed over it in a lot of ways.
Think about
but the
it
more
all
we
the
go back
time.
to it and contextualize the entire message and moment of the song, while there is no definitive answer of what this is fully alluding to, there are a lot of theories and interpretations that have went around about this bar and what it is trying to say.
You know, before we get into that, this video is sponsored by me. Hey, if you want to dive into new music, I have a catalog. Yeah. These are not singles, these are albums. But more recently this year, I did release an album called Tame Chaos. So you can listen, stream, download, purchase all of that in the link in the description. And just, check it out because I want to see if people are actually seeing this and going to the site. So anyways, and if you want to see the rest of the video, definitely I'll leave a link in the description. But that is interesting. I would say that in the midst of those, that is an interesting perspective. Like I said, I don't think that there was necessarily a beef versus like friendly jabs, between Kendrick and J. Cole. Why that project never dropped? Why, like, there's so much stuff behind the scenes that it's just all like, I don't think that there's really any actual bad blood. I think sometimes artists, they just, when that right time is there, then that's when it will all make sense. Could they do like an infinite amount of tracks or something like that? Yeah, I mean, but both of them put out songs, albums. They do things very like artists. They're not in it to feed a machine, they're in it to feed their fans. I would argue that Drake is in it to feed the machine, which is a byproduct, well, which is, a effect that happens as you feed the fans, but it's just so muddy. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Kendrick and J. Cole track potentially coming out. Like I said, if it's a Drake diss track, it's gonna be hilarious, but I don't think it will be. Let me know y'all's, theories on what it could be. Smith's Composition MC that writes fiction. Back at it with another reaction. Make sure you like, subscribe, notification bells on so you don't miss when I drop a new video. On the road to 5K. Make sure to check out the link in the descriptions for all my music, books, comics, and more. All right, y'all. Peace.